Hi, I'm Heather.
I'm Haley.
And we're the Dunnit Sisters, a Kansas City true crime podcast. With over 700 unsolved murders in Kansas City, we need your help. So please like, please share, please subscribe so that we can catch the guys who do this. This episode is on the murder of Jerry Watkins. Jerry was in the car with 2 daughters, 2 grandchildren, and her niece when a car and a truck pulled up next to them and then just started firing on the car. And one of the daughters ended up holding and cradling her mom in her lap as she died. And I can't imagine what that would be like. And I know if that were your loved one, you would want someone to come forward. Thank you for watching this.
Well, she was 39 years old the day she got killed. Very loving. She was Jerry Watkins. When this first happened, she was known as Fat Tone's auntie instead of Jerry Watkins. Before she was our mother, she was Jerry Watkins. And that's what we want her to be known as, Jerry Watkins, instead of Fat Tone's auntie.
Fat Tone was a local rapper, which was her nephew, our first cousin, and love him to death.
Like our brother.
But we just wanted to kind of get away from putting her in that. Because he was killed 2 weeks prior to her murder, but he was murdered in Las Vegas. Our mother was so loving. She was always the life of the party. She was the cook of the family. She had, how many grandkids mama got? At the time, she had 5. Very involved in her grandchildren's lives. She was a wonderful mother. And it's just so unfortunate that her life was just cut short. And we don't know why.
And the last thing my mother told me was unusual. She told me she loved me. It was like maybe like 3 p.m. She was supposed to come and bring my nephew to my house.
My son.
And next thing I know, my cousin come beating on the door, telling me I had to come to the police station. And she was dead when I got to the police station, so I didn't even get to see her prior to this incident. But she told me she loved me that day, and that was kind of odd. I told her I loved her back, and that was the last time I seen her, spoken to my mother, and it's crazy because people have their mother. So it's crazy because we don't have our mother. I'm just 42 years old. Our mother should be here just like other people's mothers.
And it was odd, the events that, it was ironic rather, the events that led up to this. Ashanti, or T as we affectionately call her, lives on the Kansas side. And I was at her house visiting, and her son was, I believe, 3 at the time. Mm-hmm. Keith was 3 at the time. Mm-hmm. And we were just sitting on the couch talking casually, and he kept coming saying, "Mama, take me to Mama, take me to Mama," as he would call his grandmother as well, Mama. So he kept going, and we kept talking, and she kept saying, "Boy, no, we don't have a ride, bye." So he said, when the last time he asked, she said, "We don't have a ride to go get Mama or to go see Mama." So he immediately stopped and turned to me and said, and he's 3, he said, "Nikki, can you take me to Mama?" So me and T looked at each other and started laughing. Like, I said, "T, I gotta take him. He done found his own ride. The baby has found his own ride. So I have to take him." So we prepared, grabbed our things and prepared to leave. And she was staying with Roddy at the time. So we pulled up, and she wasn't there. So again, Fat Tone, or Dondre as we affectionately called him. Well, anyway, he had just been killed 2 weeks prior, and he had also just dropped an album during this time as well. So his new album was out, and we were emotional and in our feelings about the death of him. And we decided we would just ride around and listen to his new album. It was a Friday night. We didn't have much going on, so it was like, let's just ride around. And as we were leaving, Amy pulled up, as in the family call her. Jerry pulled up, and she said, "Hey ladies, where y'all going? I'm going with y'all." And she got in the car with us and was like, "Come on, girl." And she got in the car with us, and we left from there.
So, from my point of view, I didn't work that day. I was home all day. He was supposed to go to her house, my older sister's house. And for some reason, and he was excited. Him and my niece are like a month and 4 days apart. And they were like, people thought they were twins. They were always around each other just from birth. And he was excited all week about going to my sister's house, but for some reason, he changed his mind. And I called my sister and I was like, Keon said he don't want to come. And then my sister called, T called us and was like, well, we about to come over there. Keith want to see my mama. That's what we call her. And so they came, we sat and chilled. We ended up on the way out the door. We didn't even know my mom was coming back. We was just going out to ride around. We was going out to ride around. My mom ended up pulling up. So we were like, come on. We got in the car and we took off. We rode around. My mom wanted to wear a shirt. She wanted to borrow a shirt from Nikki. And so we stopped by Nikki's house to get this shirt that my mom wanted to wear and show off to everyone. She was a real show off. Like she always wanted to. Yes. So we went to pick this shirt up.
And we turned on 30th and Prospect towards Wabash, which is the block west off of Prospect. And that is a neighborhood of one of our other little cousins that has passed, unfortunately, 2 years prior to this, which still felt like yesterday, you know. And
we were there for that also.
And we were there for that as well. That's another story. But we seen a bunch of his friends and stopped and talked to them. So we stopped and talked to them for a while. 30th and Wabash is a two-way street from 30th and Prospect to 30th and Wabash. That is that's a one-way street from one-way headed west, I believe. But past Wabash, it's 2 lanes. Okay, once you cross over Wabash, it's 2-lane traffic. So as we proceed west down Wabash, again, that's a one-way, excuse me for my misquote, but that's a one-way headed west. So there's cars parked on both sides of the street going west. So we pulled on the left side of the street where there was an open park and just so happened to see a lot of Little Mike's friends, Michael J. Huggins, let him rest in peace, or whatever. So we stopped and caught up with them for a minute.
There was a party going on about maybe on the next block. But the house was setting west. It was sitting on the far west side, so it was facing us. We could see it. We really couldn't hear it, but we can see the cars and the people. And as we spoke to the people that we were speaking to on that street, a truck approached, and behind the truck was a car. And it looked as if the car was following the truck. So the truck pulled past the car that we were sitting in. And the car pulled directly on the side of us, facing the opposite direction from us. So at that moment, I sat back wondering, what was going on. Why was the car so close on the truck? And as I looked at the rear view mirror, the windows were coming down on the truck. And I seen a hand coming out with a gun in it. And the first shot rang out. And several shots rang out after that. After those shots rang out, the truck sped off. We was stuck there in shock for a minute. I'm not sure how long.
Now, mind you, not to cut you off, the young guys that were Mike's friends that we were standing there talking to, their mother came off the porch. Now, mind you, this 1 block radius was a one-way at the time, headed west. So I'm parked on the left side of the street if we're headed west. But if it wasn't a one-way, I would have been parked on the wrong side of the street. Just to give you a visual. But their mom came down and was talking to you. Now, mind you, the guys we were talking to, it was quite a few of them out there as well, right? And they were so
Happy to see us.
Friendly, welcoming.
So they say,
welcoming, da-da-da-da-da, full of conversation. Roddy was the only one that got at the car. They're more their age, her age bracket. So, and she knew him. Her and Mike were like brothers, even though they were cousins. They were more like brothers and sisters, excuse me. So they hadn't seen her in a while, so they were happy to see her. And again, full of conversation. Their mother comes down and she's talking to us for a while, whatever. While in the midst of her talking to us, mind you, again, there was a party or something going on across the street. So the street was full of cars. But in the midst of her talking to us, a lot of the guys that we were talking to left, without a goodbye or we out, or it was just real. It got real eerie now that I look back. But again, their mom is steady talking to us, going. I remember one of her sons being up on the porch, because it was like a little hill. The house is set up on a little hill. So I remember looking up on the porch and seeing one of her sons saying, "Mama, come on. Dang, you just down there talking." She like, I'm talking, and come to find out, I was driving. Ashanti was on the passenger seat. My auntie, Jerry, their mother, was sitting behind me. Keon was basically on her lap, her grandson. Little Keith was in the middle, and Rashay was in the back passenger, just to give you a visual. And he got to saying, "Mom, come on, you just down there talking." And I'll never forget Amy saying, "Nikki, come on, let's go.
It's hot.
It's hot." And mind you, her son had already made the statement, "Mama, you just down there talking. Come back up here, Mind you, majority of the guys had already left without a goodbye. It was just, now that I look back. So she said, "Nikki, let's go, it's hot." I said, okay. So I never forget, I put my foot on the brake, I put my hand on the gear shaft, but she was really a talker. So I'm just waiting to get a word in edgewise to say, "Well, it was good seeing you. We're getting ready to go." Well, during the midst of that, the truck pulls up. Mind you, on that side, it's 2 lane. On the other side of the street, it's a stop sign. In the street is 2 lane. So I'll never forget, while looking at this lady waiting to put my car in gear and waiting to get a word in edgewise, I noticed the truck. The truck sat there. And when I looked back at the guy's mother, I caught a little car out the periphery of my eye, of a little car. But I could barely see it because it was so close on the tail end of the truck. So I thought that was odd. Like, So when I looked, I did a double take, like, and kind of leaned to see the car that was behind the truck. The window drops on the truck, and the guy, bless you, sticks his hand out the window and basically shoots in the air. It's a blessing and everything. I thank God that he did, because it was a warning for us to
Duck.
get down. So when the shots rang out, I tried to duck. We all ducked. And I'm trying to get under the steering wheel, and I just knew I was dead, basically. The car proceeds to pull, the truck, proceeds to pull on the side of us, and then inch a little further behind us and dump down in the vehicle from the back.
I never
While the
heard.
shots are going, the car was rocking from the bullets hitting it. It was like a slight sway. I don't want you to think that I'm meaning, but it was a slight sway to the car as the bullets was hitting it. And it was just, so as the truck pulled off and kept shooting, because every car behind us got hit, all those houses got hit as well. As the gunshots got further distant, I remember T-Store saying, "Nikki, go, go, go." So I'm stuck in neutral. I'm thinking I'm steady hitting the gas, and I'm going nowhere, which was a whole nother panic. So I remembered that car. It was a little green Mirage. I'll never forget it. I remember that car, and I felt like they blocked us in. I felt like that car was supposed to start shooting at us as well, but maybe got scared and didn't, but yet they still completed the job by blocking us in. So T kept saying, "Go, go, go," and I'm trying to go, but I'm not going. So I finally looked and get my car and drive, and I never forget, I was so scared to raise my head up. I just felt like as soon as I peeked up, the top of my head would be blown off. And I finally got because she like, "Go, go, go," and I'm just like, I can't. And I finally got it in gear, and I'll never forget, I peeked up, and the green Mirage, there was a big empty field, cattle corner to where we were at, on the same side of the street we were parked on, but on the opposite side. It had bagged up in a hurry, and it shot out. So I hit the gas and started just going. I saw 3 heads in the back. The guy in the middle kept turning around, looking, and I'm just going
Ditched
like,
the car.
huh?
They was over there. They was over there in the field. They ditched
Off
that
of-
car.
Yes.
They jumped out
I
the
shot
car.
down Wabash, and T like turn off, because again, we're
watching them.
We know y'all. We ain't connecting no dots yet, but the feeling is y'all have something to do with this as well.
And then they did their job.
They
I
were
didn't feel like that they was there to open fire. I felt like that they was there to
strictly to do that.
strictly to let the truck get away. If the police was to pull the truck, the police wouldn't be able to pull the truck because the car is
Was
on
the
the truck so
distraction.
close.
Yeah.
So if the police pull anybody, it would be the car. So the truck would be able to go. So after the truck opened fire, the truck immediately left. And the car sat there until the truck left. And then the car turned around and shot off. And we were able to shoot off.
But we
But
shot
they-
off in the same direction.
Right.
And it clicked in like, girl, get away from him.
I'm in the back seat with her.
Yes.
I'm in the backseat with my nephew, my mom, and my son. My nephew's in between me and my mom. My son is sitting on my mom's lap. When the shots rang out, I really couldn't duck because I was worried. I couldn't even reach my son. My nephew was the closest to me, so I was trying to hold him down because he's 3 years old. He don't understand what's really going on, so I was trying to protect him. So I really couldn't duck. So I'm holding my nephew down, and I'm looking out the window. I see a red truck and I see fire. I see fire, fire, fire. It was a smell that I smelled like gun smoke, but I also smelled something else. Couldn't really put my finger on what this smell was. It was a feel like in the air. Like it's just undescribable what I was feeling.
It was so smoky from so many gunshots.
So many gunshots.
It was
fired.
Like the 4th of July. It was so smoky.
My once the shots kind of got off to a distance, I felt my mom behind me. I thought she was ducking from the gunshots. So I scooted up to the edge of the seat or whatever, like, and she was like, my sister was like, "Is everybody okay?" She started calling names. And my mom never responded.
Yeah, that was me. I said, "T, you okay?"
So when I scooted up to the edge of the seat, I looked behind me. Blood is coming out of my mom's mouth. Just blood. So I got her up. I pushed her up and put her on top of me. So she's on my lap. My nephew is looking at my mom. My son is looking at her. And I'm screaming, telling Nikki to drive. Like, I didn't know what was, going on with the cars or any of that. All I knew was my mom was shot. So I'm saying drive. Looking at her the whole time, looking at her eyes. She's choking out blood. Blood's everywhere. It's all over me. My nephew.
As I'm pulling off and I'm still behind this car and I see the guy in the middle, it's at least 5 heads in the car. And the one that's sitting in the middle, he keep turning around looking. So I started doing roll call. Like it was eerily quiet and smoky, like it was the 4th of July smoky. So I said, "T, are you okay?" And Roddy started screaming. Before I could even say Amy, Roddy started screaming, "Mama shot! She shot!" Mind you, I'm still behind this car. All this is... So I turned apart and I grabbed my phone. When she said she was shot, I turned around and looked. And I saw her and she was slumped over in Roddy's lap on top of the kids. I dialed 911. I said, "Meet me at Truman. My auntie's been shot. Meet me at Truman. I'm on my way to Truman." So I make it to 31st Street. When I get out, in my mind, I'm planning on hopping on 71 North and getting off on 22nd, and I'm in Truman. Well, right at that exit, it's a little ravine. It's a drop off. It's a dip. Because there's a side street that's a dead end that lines the highway. And these guys popped up out of nowhere, running. They ditched the car. You could see the car, and you could see them pop up out the ravine. I know at least one of them had a gun in his hand while he was running, and it spooked me. I'm still on the phone with 911. I'm like, there they go. But that spooked me to make that turn to go get on the highway and go to the hospital. So my thought is, the police department is the closest place and it's right there. I'm like, just meet me at had an ambulance, meet me at the police department on Linwood. Meet me at the police department, meet me at the police department. So I pull up in front of the police department, jump out barefoot, and running and like, help me. At the same time I'm pulling up, the ambulance is pulling up. So I run in there screaming and hollering, help me, help me, help me, my auntie's in the car, please, please, please. I shoot back out the door. The ambulance people just sitting there like, I'm like, help her, But I guess they couldn't do the protocol until police came out to secure, but they wouldn't. And it's like, help me, help. And this was like one of the first hottest days of the year. Mind you, there were two or three other murders the same day. This happened approximately 7, 8, 9.
My mama was
At
the 107th
homicide of
in
2005.
2005.
It was, I know one murder was a 12-year-old child that day. So once the police came out, then you saw the ambulance people, the EMTs, get out and rush over and try to pull her out. Mind you, I said it was scorching hot. It was a hot day, one of the first of the season. It poured down raining like cats and dogs. I'll never forget it. They had us in a room. Roddy wouldn't get out the car. She was still kind of slumped over on Roddy in the back seat. And we just kind of like, is this really happening?
I'm in the back seat. I'm with her. Everybody jumped out. Nikki jumped out. My sister got out. My nephew wiggled his way out because she was over top of my nephew.
Mm-hmm.
He's still in the middle. She's on top of him, but on my lap.
Mm-hmm.
He wiggled out. So my son is still sitting on her lap, and she's over top of my lap. So I'm just saying, Mama, and she's steady like choking, and I'm looking at her in her eyes. Once the police got there and the ambulance got there, I didn't want to leave her.
They had to make you get out.
They drugged me out of the car because I wouldn't let her go. They took my son out. But they drugged me out because I was holding on to her like, hold on, like. They did what they did. They took me out the car. They put us all in a room with my sister.
That's when before I got that's I knew something was
Because
going on.
she wasn't with us.
And I didn't have no phone.
And her
My
cousin
cousin came and got me.
above her.
And it's so funny because my mama had these ugly pearl K Swiss. And when I pulled up in my cousin's car, I pulled up and it was somebody it was a body laying there. I didn't even see nothing. I just seen her ugly pearl K Swiss. So I got out the car and I walked over. My eyes was just cloudy. And the man was telling me I couldn't touch the body. And I was like, touch the body? Is she okay? Who's under there? Because I never knew it was my mom because I never seen them. When I got there, they was already inside the room. I'm like, well, who is it? Who is it? I know it's my sister. I'm like, and I got to thinking about, is my mom okay? She might have been. I'm like, because I ain't talked to her. Ain't nobody answered. None three of them answering their phone. Nobody. I'm like, who is it? So the man said, a detective came in and asked him what my name. And I said, yes. And that's what he told me. That was my mother.
Brought you back there with us.
Before I went back there, he had told me. Now, before I went back there, that's how I ended up running down the stairs. And the police kind of like took me down because it was raining. I was running down the stairs. Once the black detective told me that was my mother. And I ran down the stairs and they kind of like handcuffed me. And then that's when the other lady said, that's her mother under there. And they brought me in the room with y'all. It was the worst day of my life.
Why'd they handcuff you?
Because the police didn't know who I was until the detective came and said, kept saying my name. And I answered to my name. They was like, well, that's her brother. And they finally let me go because I don't know who they thought I was or what I was trying to do. I was just trying to get to this person up under this tarp that I didn't know who it was at first. It was horrible.
Okay.
And they finally came in and confirmed that she had passed. And the room just erupted. It was...
My sister...
It was...
Just thinking back, I know It was God. I'm the baby sister. I'm the youngest.
Joy's the oldest, T in the middle.
I'm the other.
I'm the middle.
My sister grabbed me like she never grabbed me before. We would fight all the time, but the hold that she had on me was just calming. Like for my sister to be so calm to try and calm me down, because again, I'm the youngest. I live with her. I see my mama every single day. So I was just losing my mind. Like, I couldn't believe this was going on. I thought it was a dream. When the detective came in and said, he's shaking his head. Yeah, she didn't make it. And just...
We was mishandled just because our last name is Watkins. We was mishandled just because we have had our time picking people up from the detective's office or Jackson County Jail on a 48-hour hold for murder investigations. I feel like that after they found out who we were, they even put us in the same room with the guys that was driving the Mirage.
Those guys got picked up.
They got picked up when they took me down to the police department first. Whew. And I never forget when they was pulling into their garage, this police garage. It was a police car that had pulled in obviously shortly before us, and they was taking somebody out the back seat and into the facility, the precinct. And I seen dude, and I did instantly slump down in my seat. I said, that's one of them.
I feel like we was mishandled because of who we are or who we associate with. I love my cousin to death, Fat Tone. No, we call him Dondre.
But his
Love
murder
him to
is
death.
solved.
His homicide was solved. My mom's was not. They never gave her a name. It was always the rapper Fat Tone's aunt was murdered. Never Jerry Watkins.
And how they even knew that is just amazing. It's just mind-boggling.
Everybody thought, like, people that reached out to me, they was like, oh my gosh, your auntie got killed. What? I'm like, no, that was my mama. My main reason for this is to give her own name. That was her nephew, but Jerry Watkins was murdered. A mother, grandmother,
an auntie, a sister, a cousin, a friend. Everyone loved her. She was the life of the party. She would give you the shirt off her back. And loved hard. When I tell you I was her daughter, just like she was her daughter, and she was her daughter, and she was her daughter, me and this one on the end stayed into it. Like sisters do. And when I tell you she never took sides, right is right and wrong is wrong. She loved hard and she loved her grandkids. They don't know what they did. They don't know the damage they caused.
Simply mishandled.
An innocent victim. She was wonderful.
Kansas City, Missouri's police department. KCPD
I'm so glad they getting overhauled right now.
My mom's case for a few reasons. One, because the manpower. They were tired. They were overworked. She was the
Especially that day.
107th homicide in
Especially
that year.
that day.
Half of the year wasn't even gone. It was June. 107 homicides.
Killer City.
and they had no manpower.
And in addition,
They had no faith in themselves. We spoke several times, and they would tell me what I had told them.
hello. Just following up on the case. They said repeat what you done told them, like you.
And
you
along
ain't
with just our family's time down in KCPD at the detective's office. Those were the same detectives that we were dealing with. Those were the same detectives that was calling the house. Those were the same detectives that were coming by the house. So I feel like that has something to do with it also. Just they personal feelings because they're human. And sometimes we can't set our personal feelings aside.
And Andre was no friend of the cops. He was very rude and disrespectful towards them. You know what I mean? He barred none towards them. And for that to be the headline, like, what? How did they even know that? That was the initial report. Fat Tone's auntie, like, how did they even know that?
Do you think it was because of who they were questioning next door?
That's a thought.
They claim that the people that they questioned
They
gave
didn't
them
know
out
us.
information.
They didn't know
who he
us.
was.
They immediately released him after so long, but I kept saying, he knows something. Whoever's in this room next door, because I know the nigga over there, while y'all tried to hide him and hurry up and rush him in the room, it was only 2 rooms once I hit the corner, so I knew he couldn't have been nowhere but in that room, probably listening to everything I'm saying, and I'm spooked. I was 24 years old. We had never been through this. We don't know how to bury her. We were lost. Lost. All of us. She was our everything. She was our friend. She was our mother. She was our sister. She was our cousin. She was our grandmother. Would be a great grandmother now. And she would be overjoyed. I'm 24, Roddy 23, Joy 23, Roddy 18, T what, 22, 23? We was lost. Kansas City got work to do. Kansas City fucked up. Ooh. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Don't.
We were mishandled on every spectrum. We were tossed to the side, and we're not the ones to be tossed aside. You got us messed up. You can't do that. I think I'm somebody like you think you somebody, and I know she was somebody. I know she was somebody who loved me. So I can't let it go. And I
feel like she took the bullet for everybody. She took the bullets for us all. She always gonna be my hero. I hate that that she died the way she did, but she took the bullets for us all. She took the bullets for us all. So even at her death, she was still everything.
If anybody knows anything,
We love her.
we
We miss her.
We miss her.
Not a day goes by that I don't think of her.
17 years later, 471 tips. Or get in touch with you ladies, somebody.
If anybody know anything,
Have a conscience, have a heart. How do you live with yourself? A lot of y'all was kids then, but you're adults now. You should have a different perspective on life. You should have a different view on life.
Every article written about the murder of Jerry Watkins says that she is the aunt of Fat Tone. And the family wants everyone to realize that she was more than the aunt of Fat Tone, more than the aunt of Anthony Watkins. She was a mom, a sister, a grandma, an aunt. Being the aunt of Fat Tone did not define her. So there was a party up the street. There were a lot of people on that block. There were people in the area visiting. So somebody knows who did this. There were people in the car. There were people in the truck. People talk. This is something where if you know something, you need to come forward.
Anything, even if it's small, even if you think it's nothing, you need to come forward.
We need 700 unsolved murders in Kansas City. We need to get these killers off the street. So if you know anything about the murder of Jerry Watkins, please come forward so that her family can have justice. Get the justice that they need. It's been 17 years. If you have any information, you can call and give the information anonymously, 816-474-TIPS. So, Haley, what's our next episode on?
It's going to be on Alonzo Brooks, a young gentleman who went to a party in Lacine and wasn't seen for a month.
Right. Thank you. Please subscribe. Please like. Please share.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks. Bye.